More people continue to suffer from burnout and they're just barely managing the symptoms. But could your burnout actually be caused by betrayal? Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Tamsin Fidel.
And I'm Erin LeBeau. So the rates of burnout continue to rise. In the past year, nearly 90% of Americans have suffered from burnout, with excessive workload being the #1 cause. But something else could be contributing to your feelings of stress and disappointment.
Yeah, Laura Cheadle is a burnout and betrayal recovery expert and the author of the book, Flaunt, Drop Your Cover and Reveal Your Smart, Sexy, and Spiritual Self. She's joining us now to explore the root cause of burnout. And I think we all have it at one time or another. So thanks for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you say that the cause is often betrayal, but when most people hear that word, they think infidelity, somebody's cheating. In this sense, so what do you mean by betrayal?
Betrayal is actually the breaking of an expectation that we have relied on that ruptures our view of the self or our world. It can be something global, like the pandemic that ruptured all of our view of how the world worked. Or it can be something more personal, like not getting a promotion and having it rupture our view of ourself as a valuable employee.
So Laura, then how does that translate then into causing burnout and feeling burned out, that betrayal?
Yeah, that's a great question. Burnout is actually chronic stress over time that has been unsuccessfully managed. And oftentimes the root of that stress is a sense of betrayal. So how you can tell the difference is if you have tried some of the traditional remedies for burnout, such as meditation or taking a break, and if you still feel bad, chances are what you're experiencing is a sense of burnout. And constantly dealing with expectations that are just not being met is exhausting.
No, it sure is. Well, as we've seen over the past few years, the world is very unpredictable. You can't plan for everything. You can't plan for a lot of things. But is there a way to change how life's disappointment impacts you and your mental health?
Oh, there sure is, because you're absolutely right. We can't change the world, but what we can always change is ourselves. One of my favorite questions is asking myself, considering these constraints, what is one thing I can do to make this situation more tolerable right now?
So Laura, as a burnout and betrayal recovery expert, is it possible to truly recover from burnout, or is it something that we all just experience and have to deal?
Oh, it's absolutely possible to recover from it. But the key is to remember that it's not a one and done event. You constantly have to assess how you're feeling, where your expectations are being ruptured. And then you have to do your work repairing those ruptures by using things like I statements and boundaries. Repair those ruptures along the way, and you'll continue to feel good for the long haul.
So I know you have 3 steps to get through it and get past it. Can you go through those 3 steps for us?
Absolutely. The first step we talked about a little bit already, and that's identifying the difference between burnout and betrayal. The second step is uncovering those expectations that you have that have been broken, uncovering where your view of yourself or the world has been ruptured. Because once you know what you're dealing with, then you can start repairing that rupture. And the way I recommend repairing that rupture is by using I statements and boundaries. And I statements are just statements where you own what's going on with you. Like instead of saying, you make me mad, you say, I feel mad. And then boundaries just let people know where you stand. I like to think of those as if-then statements. If you yell, then I will leave.
All right.
Sense. All right. Well, Laura, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And for more information or to buy her book, Flaunt, go to lauracheadle.com. You can also follow her on social media at Laura Cheadle.